Alright, here we go. This is what we're going to be making. This is my own Christmas wallet pattern. Gotta love the bling of the button. Yes, you want to make sure you have a blingy button. So we're opening it, and you'll see that there's a loop that goes around the button. And we open, and there's your pocket for your cards. Then the zipper pocket for all your change and monies and whatnot. Nice and roomy. And there you have it. This is what we are making. I love that bling. Okay. Put it down, Christina. Put it down. Alright, let's talk materials. First thing we're going to need is our yarn, of course. This is Peaches and Cream Ombre yarn. It's called Yuletide. And I got this at Walmart a while back. But you can find it online or any other craft store, hopefully. Mostly like Michael's or Joann. We're going to be using most of it, but not all of it. And then next we're going to want a blingy shank button. And I'm trying to show you it's a shank. Just simply means that it's got the loop on the bottom rather than buttonholes to go through. Make sure it's nice, big, and blingy. And then we have our 4mm hook, Here I am trying to show you that it's a 4mm hook, but, it's a Susan Bates hook. Yeah, 4mm hook, there you go. Alright, and then next what we're going to need, if I could just not take too long in holding that up there. Alright, here, we're going to need a 7-inch polyester zipper, matching color however you want. Doesn't have to be red, you just want it to go along with the Christmas theme. And you definitely want polyester. You'll find it in any sewing section, usually by the thread. And we want 7 inches because that's the smallest they come in, and we're going to be cutting it down when we prepare it for sewing it in. So 7-inch polyester zipper, whatever matching color you want, and then we're going to need matching thread. So I'm only going to be using the red thread for when I sew in the button, but when I sew in the zipper, just so it'll be easier to see, I'll be using this white thread here. And then next you're going to want a house needle and some small pins. I end up using a embroidery needle later on because how small it is. But anyway, stitch markers and clips, you can use either or both. I end up using both. Next you're going to want your tape measure, though I'm not going to be using it since I have that board there. That'll be for checking our gauge. And then we also have, we need our scissors. Gotta have our scissors. How else are we going to cut anything? And then the last thing we're going to need is a yarn needle. Now, I'm actually using a darner needle here because that's what I have, but most yarn needles, from what I understand, are plastic and with a nice big eye. And I'm just trying to get into frame. It's a little hard to see, but yeah, there you go. So that's, excuse me. So that is all the materials we're going to be needing. So now let's start making it. Alright, panel 1. We are going to create a slip knot. So how I do is I go over my index finger and I bring the tail under. And I'm going to grab the working part of the thread over my index finger. I'm going to grab that top part up and over and under my finger. And then there we have a slip knot. You might have a more simpler way of doing it, but that's how I do. So now we're going to chain 22. It's going to be our base of panel 1. And I'm going to do a bit of a time lapse here so that way you won't have to wait too long for it. Alright, so we just finished chaining 22, and now we're going to go on to our first row of single crochet. You're going to want to turn your chain row over, and you're going to see that there are these humps on the back. We're going to be working in those humps. You're going to want to do your first single crochet into the second hump from the hook. So you're gonna insert your hook into that hump, and you're gonna yarn over and pull through. You're gonna yarn over, pull through, and there's your first single crochet. And you're just gonna continue on to the end of the row just like that. Go into the hump and make a single crochet. You want 21 in total. So there I've done 3, and then on to 4. Can be a little tight depending on how tight you've done your chains, but overall it should be easy enough. Alright, here I am finishing up row 1, going into the 21st stitch here. Alright, and so here is row 1. What we're going to do is all the rest of the rows are going to be single crochet. Here's a good close-up of row 1. I'm currently tallying my rows here. And then I'm going to go on to row 2 with a chain 1 and a turn. And you're going to single crochet into the first stitch there. And do that to the end of the row. You want 21 single crochets all together. And at the end of row 3, we are going to do a gauge check, and that is what you need your tape measure for. All right. And now I'm finishing up row 3. I had 3 stitches left, and this should be stitch 21. All right, gauge check. So I'm using this board instead of my tape measure as I'm showing you here. So what you want is your length of your 3 rows here to be either between 4.5 and 5 inches long, or exactly 5 inches. You do want to make sure that the next 2 panels are going to be the same length at row 3. And here I have 5 inches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm good to go. If you are between 4.5 and 5, you're good to go. If you're at 5, you're good to go. Just make sure the next 2 panels are the same length at gate when doing your gauge check. All right. So if it's not like that, you might want to figure out your tension. That might be why if you get it too short or too long, something about your tension could mess with it. All right, and then now we are going to continue all the way up to row 12. All right. Chain 1 and turn. Row 4 to row 12, you're going to single crochet to the end of row for each one, chaining 1 and turning, for a total of 21 single crochet stitches at the end of each row. So here I am finishing up row 12. Just a few more stitches to go. I believe this here is the last stitch. Make sure it's 21 single crochets at the end of each row. Now what we're going to do is we are going to start our border. My hand hurts a little. And make sure you've got plenty of plenty of yarn, to continue on with. And we're starting our left border. We're going to be putting a single crochet in this last stitch you did at the end of row 12. And then you're going to do 10 more single crochet stitches down the rows. You'll have 11 in total. So there's my second one, my second stitch. And then you see in this hole here, 3 rows down, I'm going to be putting in the next single crochet. You'll notice that the row holes look different sizes, from almost alternating sizes. So there's 3, and here's 4, and 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. We're not going to worry about any adding extra stitches for rounding the corner. Just going to go straight on to the bottom row. And you're going to be putting your first single crochet at that knot stitch where on the bottom border it looks like it could be a single crochet stitch you're actually going to be stitching into. But it's the reasons why we did it in the back humps when we did our foundation. So if you can just squeeze your, squeeze the hook through and yarn over, pull through and make a single crochet. You're going to want 21 in total. Now this part can be a little hard because of how tight the stitches are, but we will persevere. So I've done about 4 stitches there, I believe. Going on to stitch 5 and stitch 6. All right. And just to keep this at a good pace for the video, time-lapse time. All right, so here I am finishing up the bottom border. Last 3 or 4 stitches here. Making sure that you get 21 single crochets to the end of the row. I did struggle a little because of the tightness, as I mentioned earlier. Excuse me. And here we go. Maybe 2 more stitches to go here. 1, 2. All right. And that's the last stitch, actually. Okay. So now we're going on to the right border, which is the last part of this. So you're going to go up 11 rows like we went down 11 rows on the other side. So right here, you're going to put in your first single crochet. There you go. You're going to notice the size of the holes being alternating from a little bit bigger to a little bit smaller. So that's 2, 3, and 4. Excuse me. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. All right. So now last thing we're going to do is fasten off. You're going to want to do a slip stitch into the first single crochet of row 12. Go through, pull through, and pull through the loop. There's your slip stitch. Then you're going to do another slip stitch over that and pull through. And now we are going to snip off a fairly long tail so that way we will have enough to sew in later on when we need to. So go ahead and snip, pull through, and create a nice tight knot. There you go. There's panel 1. Now moving on to panel 2. Panel 2 is exactly the same as panel 1 up until row 12. Panel 2's row 12 is the loop row for the card pocket closure. The way we do the border is exactly the same as before. And now we're going to start row 12. You're going to chain 1 and turn. Chain 1 and turn. I'm talking too fast, I guess. There we go. Chain 1 and turn. And now we're going to do 9 single crochet. 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And now we're going to chain 20. Alright, this is 19 and 20 chains. Now we're going to go back and look at our row, and we're going to skip 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. And into this 4th stitch, going to insert your hook. And when I get it a frame, here we go, you're going to make a single crochet. Then you'll have 8 more to go down the rest of the row. So 9 in total. So there's 1 and yeah, I talk fast. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And that is the end of row 12. As I mentioned before, the border for panel 2 is exactly the same as panel 1. Fastening off is exactly the same as well. Alright, now let's make sure that they match up. And they do. Alright. Might have stretched a little, but overall they match up and it's cool. And excuse me, they match up and it's quite nice. So now that we've got our 2 panels, we are ready to go on to panel 3. So here we go. Panel 3's first 12 rows are exactly the same as panel 1. At the end of row 12, chain 2 and turn. Alright, here I am at the end of row 12 doing the last stitch, 21 single crochet all the way down. And now we are going to chain 2 here because we are now going to be starting on the curvature of the flap. Alright. So now, here we go. We're going to do our chain 2 finally. 1, 2, turn. Now, most crocheters would have you do your first double crochet into the second single crochet of the previous row and count the 2 chains as a double crochet. I'm not doing that. So you're going to yarn over and you're going to do a double crochet in that first single crochet stitch. And you're going to be doing 21 double crochet to the end of the row for row 13 and 14. Row 15 will also be double crochet to the end of the row, except that's going to have 1 chain at the end because we'll continue with our single crochet after row 15. So here we are doing row 13. Alright, finishing up row 14 here. Just a few more stitches, double crochet, 21 all the way to the end of the row. So that looks to be about 20, and here's, no, maybe that's 20. Yeah, that's 21. Sorry. Alright, now we're chaining 2 and on to row 15. Alright, I've skipped ahead a little to nearing the end of row 15. Last few stitches here, all double crochet, 21 to the end. But instead of chaining 2, we are now going to be chaining 1 because we're going back to single crochet at the end of row 15. And to continue on, we're going to make sure we've got plenty of yarn. So here we go. I'm going to have to redo that chain 1. We're going to do row 16 to 21 single crochet to end row, 21 single crochets, chaining 1 and turning, just like we've been doing. After row 21, that's when we're going to be starting on creating the buttonhole. So here we go. Skipping ahead again, and we are finishing row 21 here. Just a few more single crochets, and then we will be starting our buttonhole row. Alright, so now we're going to start the rows for making the buttonhole. There's 2 rows that create it. And here I'm going to show you. That's our buttonhole. It consists of 2 rows. And let's bring that a little closer. Get into frame. Alright, so there's our buttonhole, and then row 24 is going to be our embellishment row, which will also be our last row before we do our last bit of border. And so now close it, and your panel 3 will be done. Now we're going to go on to finishing it. So from row 22, we are going to be doing 9 single crochet. So chain 1 and turn, and then single crochet into that first stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Now we're going to only chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now that we have our chain 3, we're going to skip 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. And so that 4th stitch, you're going to do a single crochet. Let's see if I can get into frame here. There we go. So you're going to do a single crochet. You're going to have 9 all the way to the end. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. It's very similar to when we did row 12 of panel 2. Alright, and now we're going to go on and do row 23, which is 9 single crochet after we chain 1 and turn. Alright, that's 1, 2, I think that's 2. Well, when we reach single crochet number 9, we will then, let's see here. Alright, we're gonna do 3 single crochet into the chain space, 1, 2, and 3 here. 9 more to the end of the row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Alright, so that is the end of row 23, and now, after I do my tally, we're going to do our last row, our embellishment row. And you're going to start off with a chain 1 and turn, and then in that very first stitch of the row, right there, you are going to do a half double, and then a double in that same stitch, and one more half double there. And then to the next stitch, you're going to do a single crochet. Then you're just going to repeat that. So the next one is going to be another half double, double, and half double in that order within the same stitch. Sorry for the zoom. There we go. Make sure I'm in frame, which I am. Awesome. So after we do the half double, double, and half double crochet, we do another single crochet in the next stitch. And now we are finishing up our embellishment row. There's a double and a half double. Then the next stitch is a single crochet. The last stitch is a half double crochet. And then a double. And then another half double. Now for the border, you're going to do, alright, here we go. For the right border, you're going to put in a single crochet into this last stitch you just did the half double, double, half double in. See right here. Insert your hook. Okay. There we go. Okay, I wanted to zoom in. So we're going to insert your hook, grab through, and do a single crochet. And now all the way down, we're going to do 9 single crochet down. So that was 1, 2. Here's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And now we're into the double crochet rows. You're going to do 2 into each double crochet. You're actually going to skip this one little opening, and then you're going to do your 2 into it. Skip that little opening, and then do 2. So altogether in the double crochet rows, you're going to have 6, 2 in each double crochet. So here's the last one, 1 and 2. And now below that, you're going to have 12 single crochets going down the single crochet rows. The reason why it's not 11 this time is because 12 is actually incorporated into it. So I've done about 1, 2, 3, 4 here, and 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Alright, and then the bottom border, as it's always been. So let's make sure we've got plenty of yarn here to finish up the border. Alright, get it out of the way. And now we are going to start the bottom border. As usual, it's going to be 21 single crochet all the way to the end of the row. And here we go. A moment to stop because my kitty Spunky is insisting on laying next to me. Let's do a little bit of a pan over. There's the sweet little kitty. Big kitty, actually. Alright. Panning back to the task at hand, we are working on the bottom edge border, 21 single crochet to the end of the row.
The right edge is done exactly in reverse of the left edge.
Alright, last single crochet here, and now we're going to fasten off. Just like how we've been doing, you're going to put in the first half double crochet in that row, do a slip stitch. So going through and doing a slip stitch, and then another slip stitch over that. And now we're going to clip it. And like we've been doing before, make a knot there. And now we're going to line up our panels. Panel 1 on top, and then the middle, and then the third panel we just finished. Make sure they line up nice. You want all the tails on the right side. And now that we've got them all nice and done, we're going to assemble them. Alright then.